All right. Welcome back to pre-calculus. This is going to be problem number 8. So let's see. Let's say at a high school, remember starts when the school day begins, t is equal to 0, and spreads according to this equation. R of t is equal to 300 divided by 1 plus 59 e to the negative 0 or negative 0.0198 t, where R of t is the number of students who have heard the rumor. T is in minutes. We're assuming once a student has heard a rumor, they can't hear it again. So they could hear it again, but it's not going to increase the number of people who have heard it. Okay, and then we're already set to figure that out. All right. And then we're given an equation and we ask a bunch of questions about what's going on with things. So just to see, can we figure out what's going on with this equation? So the initial number of people that have heard the rumors, that's when t is equal to 0. Okay. So we have 300, whatever you want to set t equal to 0 for, whatever your time is. We have 1 plus 59. We plug in 0. This is e to the 0. Okay, e to the 0 is just 1. So we end up with 300 divided by 1 plus 59 times 1, which is going to be 300 divided by 1 plus 59 is 60. 300 divided by 60, I believe that gives us an answer of 5. So 5 students originally heard the rumor. Okay. And now we're going to figure out some other stuff. Let's see what the next question is. They want to know what happens after a very, very long time. So we're going to say as t goes off to infinity. Okay. Well, that's not realistic because people are going to graduate. They're not going to care anymore. But mathematically, as t goes off to infinity. So we have 300 divided by 1 plus 59 e to the negative, I'm just going to say beta t and put in a really, really big number for t. Okay. And if you put a really big number in for t, what is happening to e to the negative bt? Well, e to the negative beta t, this function looks something like this. Okay. So as t gets really, 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 really big, e to the negative beta t gets really, really close to 0. So that means that this whole term goes close to 0. 59 times something that's very close to 0 might as well be 0. So at the end here, we're going to say that's going to be 300 divided by 1 plus, I'm going to put 0 in quotation marks because it's not quite 0, but it might as well be for all the things that we're going to do, and equals to 300. So there's probably 300 people that go to this school. Okay, so that's the next little step that we have there. Part C, how many students will have heard the rumor after t equals 60 minutes? Okay, well, in that case, what we're going to do is we're just going to plug in what's going on here. So we're going to say 300 divided by 1 plus 59 e to the negative 0 point, and I got to look this number up. What did we say? 0, 1, there we go, 0, 1, 9, 0 t. Let's go ahead, we can't see. Let's check that again. 0198 t. Okay, so, and all I'm going to do is put in 60 minutes in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, 60 times negative 0.0198. Okay, and we'll go ahead and figure out what that is going to be. So here we have 60. Let's go ahead and go into this. And here, so we have 60 times negative 0, negative 0.01. Okay, let's go ahead and make sure we don't have a syntax error. So 0.1 98. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and say that. Okay, negative 1.188. All right, that's what's going on right here. Now, what I need to do is I'm going to say I need the exponent of this. So second function ln, and that's e to what number am I going to put in here? Second function answer. That's that temporary variable. If I didn't want to remember negative 1.188, I wouldn't have to. It's just this number right here equals. Okay. Now we're going to say, okay, that is 0.308, 0.3048, etc. Now that's this piece right here. Okay. What are we going to do with that piece? We're going to multiply it by 59. So times 59 here. Okay, equals. Okay, and then we're going to add 1 to this thing. Okay, we got 18.98. And now what we're going to do is we're going to say 300 divided by, that's my whole denominator. So again, 300 divided by that answer. And we got, okay, 15.8 students have heard it by an hour. So we'll go ahead and we'll round that up and we'll say 16 students have heard it after an hour. Okay, so we'll go ahead and type that in and we'll say, okay, that's 16. So part C here, 16 students, 15.8 students, but we'll call it 16 students have heard it after an hour. Okay. Now, what's the next thing that they want to know is when will 200 students have heard the rumor? So we have to go back to our equation and we're going to say, okay, we wanted R of T equals, okay, R of T equals 300 divided by 1 plus 59 e to the negative 0.0198 T. And we're going to say, okay, when did 200 students hear it? So here we go with 200 equals 300 divided by 1 plus 59 e to the negative 0.199 T, 98 rather, 98. Now what we're going to do is, if we have a rational equation, we're going to go ahead and pretty much multiply both sides by the denominator to get rid of this thing. So we have 200 times 1 plus 59 e to the negative 0.0198 T. And that is equal to 300. Okay. We could go ahead and divide by 200, or we could factor it and subtract by 200. Let's go ahead and subtract. So we're going to have 200 plus, what is 200 times 59? I don't know. So we're going to say 200 times by 59 here. Okay, so I got 1,180. 1,800. E to the negative 0.0198 T. And this was equal to 300. We're going to go ahead and subtract 200 on both sides. So we're going to end up with 1,800 E 198 T is equal to 100. All right, now we're going to go ahead and do a division. So we're going to divide both sides by 1,800. So 11,800. That's not going to be too bad of a fraction to deal with. So we're going to go ahead. We have e to the negative 0.0198 and equals, this is 1 over 118. All right, not too bad. Now, I've got a variable in the exponent position. How do I get it down? We take a natural log of both sides. Since there's an e in it, we want natural log. We could use common log. Technically, that would work, but common logs and natural logs don't talk to each other very well. Let's go ahead and use natural log because that'll make the answer out to be really nice. So we have natural log e to the negative 0.0198 t is equal to the natural log of 118 raised to the negative 1 power, right? That's another way, it's a fancy way to write 1 over 118 is just to say 118 raised to the negative 1. And I did that because we're going to pull this exponent down in front for both sides. We say this is negative 0.0198 t times my natural log of e, which we know, of course, is 1, is equal to negative 1 natural log 118. Okay, so I just didn't want to deal with more numbers than I would have to. And then what we're going to do is we're going to divide both sides by this negative 0.0198, okay, divided by 0.0198. Both of these are negative, so that'll be a positive number. And we'll get t is equal to the natural log of 118 divided by 0.0198. We'll go ahead and type that in the calculators and see what we end up with. Okay. So let's see here. We have the natural log of 118 right, divided by 0.0198. Right? And then fingers are crossed. And it looks like we have about 241 minutes. So T, 241 minutes, round to the nearest minute. If you want a better answer than that, because 241 minutes is kind of not a human answer, we could divide by 60 for the number of minutes in an hour. We could say after 4 hours and what do we have here? 4 hours, 4.015 hours, so 4.02 hours. Right, and that's when we have our 200 students have heard this rumor, and it sounds like an exciting high school to go to. So thank you very much for watching the video. Good luck with this problem. It's a little tricky as far as like making sure you got the right steps, make sure you get your numbers right, and definitely practice a couple of those, but it's called logistic equation. So that's what we practiced. Okay. Thank you very much for watching the video, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.